The return of Jaylen Waddle? Well, according to reports on Monday, Jaylen Waddle could be back at practice as soon as today, which is Tuesday, January 5th. Now, on BamaInsider.com's Monday Night Quarterback, we talked about the impact that Jaylen Waddle could have if he does return for the national championship game against Ohio State. Now, please note, you're going to see some old file footage of Jaylen Waddle in this video, so don't get excited. This isn't footage that Alabama sent to us as of late. In fact, the last footage that we have of Jaylen Waddle is what we posted recently from Arlington, Texas during the Rose Bowl against Notre Dame. So this is the last footage that we have, but you're going to see footage in this video of Jaylen Waddle working out. That is not updated footage. As soon as we do get footage of Jaylen Waddle from practice or whatever it may be, we'll post that at BamaInsider.com. Now stay tuned for the BamaInsider.com staff breakdown of the impact that we feel Jaylen Waddle would have if he does play in the national championship game against Ohio State.
Look, return of Waddle. I've said it. I think I'm going to stand by it. I think that if he doesn't have any setbacks medically, he's going to play in this football game. He's back at practice. Kyle, can you believe this?
Yeah, so AL.com reported today that he'll be back at practice on Tuesday. I guess we'll have to see, if they're going to leak out any practice footage. I'm sure if there's any ace in the hole going into this week, it's going to be you want to keep Jaylen Waddle kind of hitting. So I don't know if we're going to see any type of highlights. You saw the videos that we posted right here on YouTube. Tony was down in Arlington, sent us some footage of him catching passes on the sideline. What does that mean? Well, it means he's catching passes, right? We haven't seen him running routes or anything like that. Can you imagine, though, if you guys from Ohio State, they're like, okay, these guys are distracted. Steve Sarkisian, these guys are in disarray. And then Nick Saban's like, well, Jaylen Waddle's coming back. You're like, you're like, can you imagine what they're thinking? They're like, geez, So Jaylen Waddle coming back. And I think if he comes back and he's ready to play in this game, I mean, I can't even anticipate how good the offense will be at this point because they're already rolling. And I think when you look at this Alabama offense, you got Najee Harris, you got Devontae Smith, John Mechie's done a wonderful job stepping up, but they've missed kind of like that exclamation point or another one, and that's Jaylen Waddle. So if he comes back, and I'm really hoping he does, just for his sake, just because he's a team guy, right? He has a great attitude. All these guys want to be together. That's kind of their mantra of being just the team. And if he comes back, I think that they win this football game hands down. I think he just provides kind of that exclamation point. So we'll have to see if he does come back. But I mean, if he's returning to practice, I don't think he's just returning to practice just for the sake of it. I think if he does return to practice, I think that means that he is playing on Monday against Ohio State.
Tony, is this a trick?
It could be. It could be all for show. I don't think it is. I don't think this is something that Alabama does. Like, this is it'd be one thing if he came out of nowhere. But we've been kind of circling this championship game as a possibility for Jaylen Waddle. So this is not just something that comes out of nowhere. You mentioned Ohio State, right? But they had to, if you've been following Alabama at all, the possibility of Waddle coming back has been around for like a month and a half now. Nick Saban mentioned it in November that Jaylen wanted to come back. And look, whenever somebody gets, a season-ending injury early, at Alabama, the way that their medical staff works, you should almost put that in quotation season ending, because these medical staff, it does wonders on people and gets them back into games or gets them back into shape. I've always kind of thought that Jaylen Waddle would come back. So the fact that, he's practicing, he's running on dry ground, I think he's going to play. Now, my concern from an Alabama perspective is he going to be 100% Jaylen Waddle? And then if you try to force him back too soon, he can still make a mistake. He's human, especially if he's injured. So you got to make sure that if he does come back, that he's able to contribute. But I mean, look, we've seen Jaylen Waddle, if he's close to his 100%, you're right, it's going to make a difference. No offense to Slade Bolden, but he's not Jaylen Waddle. And if you put Jaylen Waddle in the slot, look, it's already hard to stop Devontae Smith. It's near impossible to stop Devontae Smith. Well, imagine doing that now with Jaylen Waddle in the mix. It's crazy. Now you've got Jaleel Billingsley in there, John Mechie III's, been a really solid receiver as well. So yeah, this could get crazy. I mean, if you have a fully healthy Jaylen Waddle, there's no way Alabama's not dropping 50. But we'll see how healthy he is.
Well, they've got a block up front. Trey, any thoughts on the return of Waddle?
Yeah, I mean, this guy is electric. There's no way around it. I think if he plays this season, he's probably wide receiver 1 on this team, and that's no disrespect to Devontae Smith at all. I know I sound crazy right now. This is a kid that's about to win the Heisman, but Jaylen Waddle's that good. he is, the first step, the second step, just the explosiveness you see, what he was able to do on special teams. It's unbelievable. So if Alabama can have him back just standing on the field, whether he makes a catch or not, that is a world of difference if you can decoy Jaylen Waddle. I was watching The Last Dance over again last night from a basketball fans, and the Bulls were in a very similar position. They were playing in the NBA Finals against the Utah Jazz in '97, and Scottie Pippen had back spasms and couldn't be in the game. Came out for the second half and just stood on the floor, and just his presence alone was enough to throw off the Utah Jazz defense. I think that's going to be the same thing in this game. If you're looking down the barrel and you see Devontae Smith, John Mechie, and now Jaylen Waddle back at receiver, who do you guard? Ohio State didn't really have much trouble with Clemson's receivers on Friday, but an adjustment like that could change everything. So we'll see. You gotta hope he's healthy enough to play. The last thing you want to do is have him play in this game and ruin any kind of future career or money that he would be able to make playing the game of football at the next level. That's got to be the first priority. But the staff doesn't mess around. They're not going to put him out there unless they truly believe he's good to go and he can make an impact. And I know he believes it. So we'll see if they give him the green light here. And, I'd love to see it. I think he's probably ready.
Thanks for the super chat, Jersey Dolphin, as we talk about Alabama football. Guys, the thing to me, and I'm going to let you sound on this as well, for Jaylen Waddle not to opt out with everything else that's going on, the broken ankle against Tennessee, he doesn't have to play. He doesn't have anything to prove. There's no reason at all, selfishly, that he's got to go out onto the football field. I mean, I know he wants to win a national championship, but at the same time, what it says to me is that this guy's dedicated to the Alabama football program. There's a magic about wearing those crimson and white uniforms. And, he doesn't want his last memory to be getting hurt against Tennessee. He wants it to be walking off the field with a championship and eventually a ring ceremony. And I think that really says a lot about what this program is that Nick Saban has built. And I love the fact that this is coming out now, because I was just not a big fan of Texas, Steve Sarkisian, and the timing of the announcement that he was going to be their head coach. I felt like it was like Nick Saban kind of alluded to a little bit today in the press conference. It's one of the points I made last night, is that it takes away from the players that got him the job. He didn't get the job because people were like, hey, Steve Sarkisian. He got the job because of these guys right here and what they were able to accomplish on the football field. Going back to Jaylen Waddle, I just tip my cap, if I was wearing one, that he's out there back doing this thing again. And I think that it helps Alabama as far as, refocusing on playing a football game and not what coaches are going where. Kyle?
Yeah, it's Jaylen Waddle. Look, this is, in my opinion, the most electrifying football player in college football. And that says a lot, considering Devontae Smith, the odds-on favorite to win the Heisman. I think that's just how good this team is. That's just how good Jaylen Waddle is. It's really sad to even think about that Najee Harris isn't sitting at that virtual table. He has 27 touchdowns this year, 24 rushing touchdowns. Please do not forget about Najee Harris. His campaign will not be forgotten by me. That was a campaign. 24 touchdowns, 3 additional wide receiving touchdowns to put him at 27. It was just incredible performance against Florida. I'll always go back and watch the highlights of that game. Back to Jaylen Waddle. Look, if the guy is good to go, Ohio State's going to have some trouble. I was kind of looking at the Pro Football Focus grades. You guys will have something special coming up at Bama Insider. I'm going to line up all the Pro Football grades kind of side by side, so you can look at kind of the comparisons from the wide receivers to the corners. And I think if there's one area that Ohio State will have trouble with, it's at the corner position. They just don't grade out well, and I think Alabama could take advantage of that. So Jaylen Waddle comes back. I think it's going to really buoy this entire team to be amplified, be ready to go for the game in Miami, for a game that we really can't wait to see. This is one of the most highly anticipated national title games that we've had, Alabama, Ohio State. What more could you want?
Tony?
It's certainly a momentum boost, right? It definitely, like you said, look, it gets, whether he does anything in the game or not, it's got to give Alabama more confidence heading into the game, right? You see him back at practice, you start remembering what it was like with Jaylen Waddle. Yeah, it's huge. It's huge for this matchup. And if he can do anything, if he can be a decoy, if he can, or if he can just be his old self, it's going to have huge implications. Alabama's proven that they can win without him, so I don't think it's going to be I don't see this in any way ever being a negative. Look, if Jaylen Waddle practices this week and then, Friday they decide like, hey, look, you can't go. I don't think that's going to be such a letdown because I think Alabama knows they can win without him. But having him there is going to be a huge boost. How could it not be?
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, and we're talking about Jaylen Waddle and not Steve Sarkisian's next job at Texas, Trey.
Yeah, this is for Steve Sarkisian, just another pawn that he can use in this game to win the Texas fans over if there's any more of doing that for Steve Sarkisian. But it'll be interesting. I'm glad that Steve Sarkisian is in this position because he's going to know exactly how to use Jaylen Waddle in this game. Most offensive coordinators would, but this is a unique situation. And with a receiving core that's already so loaded, like Tony said, if we find out on Friday, Jaylen Waddle can't go for whatever reason, that's probably not the worst thing in the world for Bama because right now Ohio State is game planning with the thought in the back of their head, we might have to face this kid come Monday. So, for Steve Sarkisian, I think it's just about finding ways to incorporate him one way or another, whether that's with the football or without it. And just putting him in a position to succeed and stay healthy. This offense can hurt you in a lot of ways. It seems like every time we watch them, they find a new way to just pick apart the defense. It's going to be interesting to see what it is against this Ohio State defense. But, if Jaylen Waddle plays, there's no denying it. He will have a part of that and make an impact in this game.
Okay, we want to hear from you inside the comment box. Do you feel that Jaylen Waddle will play in the national title game against Ohio State? And also post, what type of impact do you think he will have if he comes back to Alabama's already loaded offense? Hey, thank you very much for watching. Hit the thumbs up, like, and subscribe. We appreciate you guys being here. Please help us get to 50,000 subscribers right here on BamaInsider.com.